What does it mean to be dominant? I've played at the highest level. I've received the highest award.
Thank you.
But those things did not make me dominant. On this show, I want to interview people from various backgrounds and careers to see what made them dominant. That's why I decided to partner up with Mission Winnow. Together, we want to promote progress and achievement while sharing real stories of struggle and success. We want to acknowledge the challenges in front of us, but we also want to pivot towards improvement and positivity.
Everything is going to work out.
We are the dominant ones. We dunk on the world. We don't let the world dunk on us. You know how you hear something, you know a song, you've heard it forever, but
it's like I know it.
But you hadn't played in a long time. And you're like, man, you know what? That song really sounds good. I'm gonna go and download that, put it on my playlist.
Now something else you should download is an album.
Oh, that's for sure. No, that's for sure. I'm gonna do that.
Hat on top cause we think excellent. Frames on straight cause I see excellent. Dress for success cause I be excellent. Everything we do, everything we do.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, brother.
Glad that. Well, Trey, man, thanks for coming, man. Appreciate you coming, sitting down with us to talk a little bit about your life and really what has inspired you and to go in the field. You go, a lot of people, they're undecided of what they really want to do in life. And so, when you grow up, like I grew up in the neighborhood, one parent, 8 brothers and sisters. So you had to find something that you was passionate about very quickly. For you, what was that in your life?
It was basketball.
Really? Really? Okay.
Initially, I think every kid, has a dream of going to the NBA or the NFL. But probably started in the 6th grade for me. I went to Progress Village Middle Magnet School. And with that, you kind of have to take an elective, whether you take band or orchestra, dance, what have you. So, band came around, and I picked up a saxophone. And I didn't like it. I wanted to play tuba.
That's almost big as you.
Right. But sax was my dad's favorite instrument, and probably that second week I fell in love with it. And it was then I knew music was a path for me.
Oh, that's great. Often we talk about when people's lives and what it really took for them to be successful, but it had to start somewhere, and building that dominant attitude, and basically that's what our show is called, The Dominant Ones, but building that dominant attitude and the focus to perfect something that you're passionate about. Once you found out that this is something that you wanted to do, this was something that you was going to make a career out of, who was your inspiration?
Man, it was saxophonists and non-saxophonists. For me, my parents played a little bit of everything growing up, from Luther Vandross to Anita Baker, Mississippi Mass Choir. So I had a lot of different musical influences. But kind of when I really started honing down on the sax, Charlie Parker was huge.
He was
Sarah
big,
Vaughan,
yeah.
Miles Davis, Gerald Albright, Kirk Whalum, Boney James. So I like to get a lot of influences from.
Well, you got a lot of
just
old
sax,
school people that you learn from who were big time musicians,
Absolutely.
and masters of their craft during that time. So, man, you got an old spirit there, man. But again, it helps you grow and helps you mature a lot quicker in life, and then you get to a point where you know what you want. But knowing what you want and get there is 2 different things. So you had a lot of obstacles go on the way. I mean, I know for myself, everything wasn't smooth. There were things in your life that say, you know what, do I really want to stay on this track and pursue this?
Wow.
And what point did you get when you felt like that?
Well, I think my first obstacle, man, I was born 2 pounds 8 ounces, 3 months premature. I'm not supposed to be here. And the fact that God gave me a second chance And for me, when I knew music was a path, I was like, I got to get music out to as many people as possible. You know, despite the obstacle, whether, you know, people aren't used to jazz, let me put it in a way where they can get it. You know, that was kind of my bridge point. I'm a young cat, but I love old school music. So now I'm at a platform where I can introduce jazz to millennials. And I was okay. I didn't know you could do that.
So
Just
was
bridging the gap.
there another instrument that you was just as passionate about, or you just pretty much stayed with the sax,
Stayed
even
with
though
the
you
sax.
just
That's it for me.
okay.
Like I said, man, it was it was the hard work ethic, and it goes with that dominant force that you talked about. Starting in the 6th grade, man, I practiced 5 hours a day, Monday through Saturday. And on about week 3 or 4, I started surpassing people that were in 7th grade, knocking on the doors of 8th graders, like I was the first chair in the 6th grade. So a lot of obstacles came from that. Me having tunnel vision and not worrying about whose feet I'm stepping on, just trying to be the best I can
And
be.
that's what a lot of people understand. When you're passionate about something, that dominant instinct kind of kicks in, and nothing can derail your focus. And I love to hear people's journeys, you know, that what really kept you going. Whether it's someone that you idolize, one person that you really idolized that really pushed you.
My dad. I think for me, looking at my dad, you know, as a kid, that was my hero. You know, he did so many things, and as parents do behind the scenes that kids never know about.
Right.
Later did I learn he worked, you know, 4 jobs at one point, just making sure that my sister and I could, you know, had enough food on the table, or had a roof over our heads, man. So for me, that was my inspiration. One day I want to take care of my dad like he's taking care of me
Right.
for the past 30 years.
I mean, and that's how we grew up. That's all of us. We all have similar stories in growing up. I mean, be it you within a single family house, or you had parents who still struggled, but you know they still found a way to help. But there was also moments that when you hit that wall, you said, "Do I really want to do it?" What was the moment where you hit the wall and said, "I don't know if I want to stick with this,"
So,
or if you ever had that moment?
yeah, it was. I had a call it come to Jesus moment,
yeah.
Damascus Road moment.
Yeah.
So moved to Atlanta 7 years ago, and at that point, you know, I decided that I wanted to do music full time. You know, and I didn't have a place to stay. I stayed on my line brother's couch. You know, my frat brother's couch, and it was at a point where I had enough money to get an apartment, but I couldn't afford furniture in it. And my parents came. My mom started crying. I was like, "Mom, why are you crying?" She said, "Son, I'm worried about you." I said, "Why?" She said, "I know this is what you want to do, but I'm not seeing the fruits of your labor come."
Right.
You know, and she supported. My parents were very supportive, but she said, "I'm not seeing it." And that was just a breaking point for me. It's like, all right. My dad always told me, if you're 13 years old, you can't have a 9-year-old game like playing ball.
Right.
You know, you got to
Right.
keep elevating. And
Right.
for me, that was a wake-up point. If I was going 8, I got to go 15 out of 10 at that point. And once that tunnel vision and that grind started happening, things started falling into place for me.
Right. And you have to go through those challenges to be successful, because in life people think winning and losing, that's all people really express and care about. But life and being dominant at something you believe in, it's not always about winning and losing. It's just being successful and succeeding when others thought you couldn't.
That's good.
And so just stay in the course, believe in yourself, and not letting anyone tell you what you can't do. If you had to go back in life and look at what you've done up to this point, if you could do some things differently, what would you tell yourself?
Be a little more patient. I think that's something that entrepreneurs and people who, not even entrepreneurs, but people who have that dominant mentality, you want it now. You want that big break now. You want, you know, that record company to call you now because you're putting in the work. But you just got to remind yourself to be patient,
Right.
stay the course. And that's what I've learned, especially these past 5 to 10 years. Just take each day at a time.
Well, patience is everything. It's a lot of times as athletes, entertainers, you know, what have you, everything has to be done now. and don't have that patience, but that patience helps you grow. You know, it helps you become even more successful, because if you get there on that fast track, it might not be what you think.
Right.
You know, then you are met with a lot more failures.
Right.
Believe me, I know.
Wow.
But it was people in my life that I idolized, that was kind of that big brother figure. Even they didn't know it, but I felt like they was my big brother inspiration. A guy like Dr. J. I remember when I first came to the league, and the first time I played against him, I was so in awe that I went up to him. I said, I wanted to be like you. I emulated everything you ever done, man, and I just don't know what to say. And I remember he said, there's one Dr. J and there's only one Dominique working. Since they start calling you the next Dr. J, you might well start learning, you know. And I remember he scored 36 on me. I was not upset. I said, hey, that's the doctor.
How many did you score on him?
I don't even remember. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot. But
Okay, yeah.
after I got over the awe of that, and you know, his inspiration of, you know, telling me to keep moving forward, keep striving, we competed on a very high level. But he was the biggest inspiration for me as a pro. For you right now in life, what musician is your biggest inspiration right now?
I wouldn't say one, but it's a, you know, T-Mobile kind of came out with that top 5 a couple years ago.
Right.
But I mean, Anita Baker is one of them. Just how she persevered through her musical career. Kirk Franklin's another one. Gerald Albright, Kurt Whalum, and probably Najee.
That's not a bad list of people. If you know Anita Baker's story, she used to sing with a group called Chapter 8, and you already know the story, probably. And the fact that they said she couldn't sing, and they let her go. Well, she's successful, and they're not.
8-time Grammy Award winner.
You know, so they made a mistake, you know. And a lot of times people get overlooked like that because people are not patient, like you just said, and really understanding and learning what a person's strong suits are. I mean, you look at Michael Jordan, who got cut off of his high school basketball team.
Yeah.
They made a mistake. That's the greatest of all time, you know, but if you believe strongly in yourself and you know who you are, it doesn't matter what anybody else say.
Wow.
You know, and she's prime example of that. Being on a group and getting kicked off of the group because they thought she couldn't sing, you know what? It just motivates you to be even stronger.
I mean, that's it. Like, it was times when I was overlooked. It's times when I'm still overlooked because they might want a Gerald Albright or someone of that caliber. And every single time that happens, it's just motivation that you're inching closer to your dreams. You know, it's not a loss, it's a lesson.
And all those guys are great, but sometimes they don't look at that guy over there who works hard and he's looking for an opportunity to better himself. And a lot of times they get overlooked.
Absolutely.
And I think it's so unfair because you see that in every form of life, but what doesn't kill you make you stronger. And you don't let obstacles in the road stop you. They're there to slow you down a bit, to make you step back and look at your life, but you find a way to get over them or around them.
That's it.
And that's about persevering, you know, staying the course. And if you can do that, you write your own ticket. And your prime example, look where you're traveling with Anita Baker, you know, one of the queens of the business. So that's a testament to your drive and your focus. And that's why you're here. And I'm looking forward to you playing a couple of notes because the saxophone is the sexiest instrument ever, you know. And so I'm looking forward to that. I like that. I'm telling you, that's the sexiest instrument ever, man. You know, and speaking of that, you know, if you played on a lot of big stages, you played for Anita Baker, now you have your own albums and things like that out. What is the pros and cons of being on both sides?
Man, it's a blessing. We've been talking about dominance, and I think operating in your passion opens up pathways. And so for me, my passion is music, And like we talked about, I started in 6th grade at an early age, but it's crazy. I wanted to be in the NBA, but I couldn't make it there. But my music allowed me to play on stages and do national anthem performances, from the Hawks to the Clippers and, Mile High Stadium for the NFL.
That's where I heard you. At the Hawks game. That's
Wow.
where I'm sitting there remember. I said, I know I heard him a couple times before, and that's where it was at. Okay, okay.
So that's just a lesson, man. You just keep operating in that passion and things like those type of big stages can come.
Cool. So with young musicians today who are inspiring to do what you've done and get on your level, what are some of the things you tell them that they have to do, need to do to get to where you're at right now?
There is no shortcut for hard work, and it's practice.
No question.
Practice, practice, practice. It's like, you can only go left. If somebody makes you go right, you're in trouble. So for, young musicians, practice your scales, practice your major scales, your minor scales. Have that routine that you know what, I'm going to put in 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday, whatever, allots to your schedule. But there's no shortcut to it. You got to put in the work.
Oh yeah, I knew all that. That was nice, man. One of the things that we ask everybody, when you look back on all the things you've done in your profession, and you look at your life and all the things you've went through, what is your definition of being dominant or dominant, period? What is your definition of that?
I think my definition of being dominant is having a strong, profound presence. And for me, it's holding a saxophone or not holding a saxophone. It's like if Trey walks in the room, okay, did y'all know Trey was here? That it's an aura about you. I know you get that.
Oh yeah,
It's you don't have to physically be down in basketball, but Nick just walked in. And that's for me. That presence. That's synonymous to dominance for me.
That's great, man, because in life a lot of us are in that fishbowl trying to be one of those small peons, so to speak, trying to steady climb to the top. And it's not easy. People think what we do a lot of times is that we've been served with a silver spoon. Don't understand the struggle. The struggle is real. And
always real.
And what we've been through, man, failures, a lot of disappointments, but all those disappointment and failures, it takes that one moment you succeed in life. Doesn't matter how many times you fail, or how many times that you got hit.
Absolutely.
You just got to keep getting up. But it's that one moment in life where, you know what, I'm gonna make it, and make all those failures worthwhile.
Wow, that's good.
So.
And I think we're in a social climate. Things like Instagram, Facebook. You'll never post that bill that you didn't pay.
No. No.
And people always think it's just instant gratification, and that's not life.
Yeah, because people see us in life, they say, you know what, they live a great life, they got nice homes, they got nice cars. You don't understand, growing up when I was your age, that I had nothing to eat. I had one pair of shoes for a whole year, had holes in. I had all the things that a lot of people suffer through in their lives, but not using being a product of your environment as an excuse to fail.
Right.
Absolutely. You got to be that one to think outside of the box. And that's why we're here, because we didn't let those small failures hold us back. And as people, we got to learn how to come together and educate and teach each other how to do that. And that's what being dominant is all about, man.